Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time zone it is, whether you in the world, it is your Lord and Saviour, with a humongous box sitting upon a very delicate wooden table, a box that I believe contains a lot of TTRPG books sent by the developers of said books. Talsorian Games, TTRPG royalty no less. You know, the Cyberpunk people who did 2020, Cyberpunk Red. That would be sources of inspiration for Cyberpunk 2077 and Liberty City or Son or whatever it was called. The Edgerunners anime, and then the Edgerunners mission kit, which I've actually got up here along with my other Cyberpunk books. It's that bit of greeny shit right there, which we're going to have a look at later in this video. Not as a deep dive, but I just want to show off my little Cyberpunk things. Now, why do I feel that these books are not only Cyberpunk books, but they've come from Talsorian Games themselves, which is honestly such a wild thing to be coming out of my mouth from all angles of the phrase, I think, unless of course it's them who sent it, but I'm getting sidetracked. Well, not too long ago, Talsorian Games announced that they are going to be developing some solo rules to use with Cyberpunk Red, which got me very excited because I very clearly like the Cyberpunk setting. I've played Cyberpunk 2077. I have not played the DLC yet because I don't have a PS5 and there's no chance in hell that any of my PC shit can deal with fucking Cyberpunk on PC. I love the Edgerunners anime, and I'm really enjoying the mission kit, particularly the dice that comes with that as well, which again I'll give a little mention and show off later on in the video. Long-time viewers of the channel and those who are truly goated and based will know that I've done a few solo actual play stuff, and I've developed solo rules for Wraith the Oblivion and Vampire the Masquerade, which you can go and find on the channel under the Playing with Dice Self playlist. There's a few, and I've broken up them by seasons, as well as like a mega omnibus thing, so go and check that out when you have the chance. And I've talked a lot about using solo rules for other purposes as well. Like, I recently did a video using the Mythic Games Master emulator, 2nd edition, where I used the tables and things in here to generate a one-shot of All Flesh Must Be Eaten, which is going to be on a card up there somewhere, and I'm going to have a full-on review of this book later down the line, and I just love how versatile systems like this can be. Yes, you can take something like this and play a TTRPG by yourself, which I've done many times over the last few years, but it's also really versatile and like using them as tools to develop campaigns and one-shots, and just something I'm never going to shut up about because I hear a lot of criticisms and say it's like, oh, you play TTRPGs by yourself, oh, that's just sad. Yeah, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. People say it's pretty sad that we're all playing fucking make-believe with dice, so stop ruining people's fun, I guess. But, you know, there's a lot of versatility with that, and I just wanted to see what these solo rules are like. So obviously I'm very passionate about this. I'm really passionate about the solo rules, the versatility that it may bring, and the Cyberpunk is just a beautiful meshing of stuff that I really wanted to sink my fucking teeth into. So I tried my luck, and I sent a message to Talsorian saying, hey, here I am, this is what I do, would you be willing over to send a review copy? And I also asked if I could have a review copy of the upcoming Night City 2045 book, because that was announced at the same time, and I think that would be a pretty cool thing to look on the channel. Let me know down below if that is something that you're interested in. And much to my surprise, because remember, our Talsorian Games are sort of TTRPG royalty here, I heard back from a guy called Rob, who's their community manager's person, and I got the general impression that they really like my stuff there, which is great, and sort of took me aback a little bit because I very rarely talk about Cyberpunk on the channel because, you know, I've talked about the mission kit and I've talked about just how cool and amazing their content is at the moment, just how they're killing it. So the conversation between the two of us carried on for a little bit, and just to sum things up pretty neatly and rather bizarrely from my perspective at least, what started with me messaging them saying, you know, could I possibly have like a review copy of the solo rules and maybe the Night City source book as well, but not both because I don't want to come across as too greedy, and this is genuine by the way. Basically went to, we love your stuff, but we're going to send you all the PDF for 2020 stuff, all the PDF for the current Red stuff, and if you send me a list of anything else that you want, and if we got it in physical, we'll send that over to you. So I then sent them over a wish list of Cyberpunk books I can get on Drive-Thru RPG in the physical format. And that was that, and that's what I think this box is. Now, as part of that conversation, I also received a review copy of their most upcoming game in PDF form, Shadow Scar, which is currently going through its Kickstarter crowdfunding process, which I reviewed fairly recently on the channel. The book, not the crowdfunding, which is going to appear in a corner up there somewhere, and if you want more information about that, you can check that down in the description below. But as I said, I've reviewed and talked about that game a lot already. I'm focusing on Cyberpunk here, and without further ado, I think it's about high time that we open this box here, because this has taken many attempts just to get to this point in the fucking video, and I'm so excited. I don't actually remember how many books that I sent over to them. I mean, I can see the number here, but I'll have to check later on to see if that marries up. I'll do that at the end. So, fortunately, the bit of tape is down there, so that should make it a bit easier for me to get in with my pristine box opening knife. So let's put on some chill cyberpunk music and see what's inside. I'm a bit scared actually getting into this. Although it will be a nice relief getting the box off the table because it's all a wee bit fragile. And I can see that the receipt is in there, so probably should get rid of that, assuming that is the receipt and it's not just anything else. Yes, it is. I will have a look at that later. I'll probably confirm my suspicions regarding number of the books and shit. Also, it'd be quite funny if I start to open this and this is something completely different. If that's the case, this video is going to start off very fucking differently. Okay, I'm scared to open that. That does indeed hit the mic. Cool. So in that case, editing magic is going to move the mic over there somewhere. Wow, that was magic. So we can open that a bit more, open that cheeky little flap up, and oh, I can confirm this is indeed Cyberpunk stuff. Now, how do I know this is Cyberpunk? Because the very first book that I see sitting on top of this stuff here is the new Solar Rules single player. Woohoo! Okay, well, so just pulled this one out. Let's go through. Actually, no. Okay, so this is the Cyberpunk stuff, the certain. So you can see a bit more of what's going on. That's not just an open box. What we're going to do, we're going to go through them one by one and have a good old cheeky little look at that. I'm apologising for any glare. I'm doing this in the best conditions that I can, but it's not going to be perfect. Oh, and I should mention that all of these are print-on-demand books, so they're not like original print copies that they're just sort of hoarding in a warehouse somewhere. These are drive-through RPG print-on-demand stuff, to my knowledge. I'm assuming it's that, given all the address stuff that I recognise as a regular purchase of drive-through RPG materials. So that's the front of the Solar Rules. That's the back. So let's read the blurb. I don't know if I'm going to do this with every single book that I pull out, but let's see what happens, because I'm sort of making this shit up as I'm going along. Single player mode. You can go it alone in the dark future. You're hooked your Minitech pistol to the interface in your brain, upgraded your cybernetic fist with carboglass blades, and installed cyber eyes that can pierce through the red haze like morning fog. There's a world full of opportunities out there, just waiting for the right edge runner. Only there's a problem. Maybe you don't have a group. Maybe you don't have a games master. Maybe you are a games master, but your tank of inspiration fuel is running on empty. Don't worry, Choomba, we've got you. And that's one of the things that I like about this, having read the PDF, because I had to go and buy the PDF myself, like a fucking peasant, that it makes a lot of mentioning that you can use these tools with regular play as well, like regulars and traditional play, like a games master and a bunch of players, that it doesn't just limit it to being a solo playing experience. Although calling it single player mode with that in mind, you know, is it primarily a solo play rule? You know, I don't think there was an easy fix there. Single player mode provides the tools of a gamer needs to play Cyberpunk Red on their own as part of a group with no games master. And I have to say, because most of these are like random tables with like oracles and the like in there, you can use this for Cyberpunk 2020 as well, so you're not cut off from there. But obviously this leans a lot more into the mechanical side of Red, so you might have to do a bit of homebrewing to tweak that. It'll even function as an assistant to GM, ready and willing to fill in the blanks in your dark future story. So again, repetition legitimizes. Those tools include close and open question oracles fine-tuned to play in Cyberpunk Red, guidelines for running solo play investigations, social challenges and combat, quick and dirty rules of fighting and net running, rules for solo play clocks, adding random timers for more unpredictability. And if you don't know what a clock is, you usually have them associated with Blades in the Dark. where you have like a task or some sort of urgent matter, and it'll be represented by a little clock face, which actually looks more like a pie chart sort of thing. And every fuck up or good progress thing that you do, like it begins to fill up or decrease depending on the clock that you've done. So that's what it means by clock here. Mission builders to create a gig from scratch, roll it all random, or just use them to inspire. Over 100 list tables and random encounter charts to help you populate your Cyberpunk Red game with people, places, things, organizations, and plots. Forms to keep track of it all, from NPC stat blocks to scene and gig trackers. And then there's a final bit that reads, expert solo player Peter Norton of Hollow Pond Solo Sagas has teamed up with Talsorian Games to create the ultimate solo play guide for Cyberpunk Red. Use it on your own or use it with friends. Either way, it will enhance your visit to Night City. Single player mode requires the Cyberpunk Red Corebook for play. And I really like it that a handful of the DLCs and this, it's actually the Talsorian Games have collaborated with other content creators to create different pieces, to create other bits and pieces, which I think is really fucking cool. You don't see that with a lot of TTRPG companies, and if you do, it is often in the form of sponsored, actual play, celebrity guest appearance stuff, which I think often rings a little shallow. But this feels a lot cool, you know, it's stuff written with and for the community. Like, I think that's just so fucking cool. And you know, this is the first Cyberpunk Red drive-thru RPG purchase I've made, because a lot of them have been more traditional store-bought stuff, and with editing magic, that mic is going to come closer to me now. Whoa! Magic! And that can just sit nicely on a delicate cushion. What can go wrong? Right, I have no idea what's up next, so this is going to be a surprise to me as much as it is you, and I'm sorry for like the moving in volume, but obviously box, cope. Right, so let's go that away. That FUD was a SCART lead. I'm using it to power up the laptop. Well, keep it charged up, I should say. Okay, so what do we have next? And we've got Rocker Boy for Cyberpunk 2020, which is a very different style, very much of the 80s, 90s Cyberpunk vibe. So what is Rocker Boy about? Actually, let's have a look at that fucking artwork as well. Wowzers. In one of their DLCs recently, they recreated this image, which is a lovely bit of nostalgia there. Yeah, very much drive-thru RPG thing with like the consistently inconsistent quality there. But that's not an Talsorian thing, that's just a drive-thru RPG little quirk. The Rocker Boy. Gyrate to the edge of the stage, the hypnotic beat throbbing from the speaker stacks at either side of him. Driven by energy and fury, he bares his soul to the audience. Captivated by the Rocker Boy's fire, the crowd's emotions become his personal plaything, to be directed at will. His word, delivered as lyrics thundering over the band, becomes gospel for those caught in his spell. Another group of people has been swayed by the Rocker Boy's message and joined him in his rage, passion, joy, or anger. The media looks confidently into the camera. Oh, it's got both of them in here, because one of the life paths, because two of the life paths are Rocker Boy and the media, and I presumed that this was just for the Rocker Boy, but no, the media gets coverage as well. The media looks confidently into the camera. The surrounding action and chaos elicits no reaction from her. She has a job to do, and she's going to do it. I like it that the two are presented as like one's male, one's female, because I was just about to criticise them just choosing only male, being a bit of a sausage fest, but no, equality runs rampant through the burb. The blurb. She has a job to do, and she's going to do it. On the other end, you see her on the wall screen of the evening news at 6:30. Her poise and confidence are infectious, and despite the camera, TV, and 50,000 miles of cable and satellite transmission between the two of you, her eyes seem to find you. There is honesty and candour in that gaze, backed by a wisdom which bellies her young age. You can trust this woman. Whatever she is about to say is true and important. You can lean forward to make sure you catch every word of the investigative report. Your mind belongs to her. Ooh, I love that. Rocker Boy, the complete sourcebook and background guide to the world of rock and roll in 2013. So actually, this is not a 2020 sourcebook. This is the OG edition of Cyberpunk. I forget that 2013 was the first iteration of Cyberpunk, so apologies for that. Covering Night City's feral club scenes, bands and trends, the brain dance, the ultimate entertainment. If you played 2077, you know a bit more about that. The decadent haunts of the super rich. What a brilliant sentence. The inside scoop on the deadly skirmishes of the media megacorps. And more. It's all here in Rockaboy, because even in the future they still know how to rock. That is such a cheesy line. Great, love it. As I said, I'm not probably going to be reading the blurbs of all of them. We are going to be talking a bit about more of them. And I said, I am learning as you are learning. So that is book number 2. Next we have Live and Direct Multimedia in the Cyberpunk Age. Now I know that this one is a 2020 book because I can actually... Now I know that this one is a 2020 book because it actually says a Cyberpunk source book, and on the back, that's not really visible, but that's the 2020 cover. And what this one is, this is talking about news and media corporations. It actually ties in a little bit with this one as well, which is great if you're wanting a lot of espionage shit, and, you know, want to basically roleplay what's going on in the legitimate 2020s. And other little artwork there, you got the little, I forget the dinosaur's name, but they've got like a little dinosaur mascot. A nice little Easter egg sort of thing. Live and Direct flings you headfirst into all the pervasive worldview, highlighting in the media role and its venues. History of the mass media, how media is disseminated, new media character templates, the media campaign, underground government or freelance style, the pros and cons of each, as in a depth look at the Net 54, DMS and WNS, the top 3 mega media corps in the world, plus CJ O'Reilly's Goes Hollywood, an all-new adventure story. Ooh, lovely stuff. Wowzers. Right, what have we got next? We have got Neo-Tribes, the nomads of North America. And I forgot to mention in my little quick rundown about the conversations played out, they did ask if I wanted any of the older legacy stuff, and there's one book that I did ask for, and that's how it developed into the whole fucking list. But this isn't it, I just remembered that. Neo-Tribes talks about the different nomad tribes in the 2020 era. It kind of looks like that, so I have my fingers in the way a little bit. And then you've got an equally cheesy little picture on the back. And let's read out a picture of the blurb. Neo-Tribes is a complete review of the nomad culture in the world of post-apocalypse America. The 7 major nations are described in detail, including bios, equipment, new roles, vehicles, and background, plus a nomad's map of America, an adventure that immerses your players into the nomad culture and the Chicago Reconstruction Project. What is that? I don't know! But I thought the nomads presented in red and a little bit in 2020 was a little lacking, which is interesting given how nomad-centric Cyberpunk Red is. And if you've got no idea what I'm talking about, go and read up on the Corebook. And I'm going to review that Corebook at some point now. I decided a while ago because it's long overdue, I think. And sometime in the new year, I think, or sometime this year. I haven't quite worked that one out yet. What is this one? Wildside, the Cyberpunk sourcebook for the streets. Right, so it looks like that, which is, I have to say, very fucking 80s. Not as appealing on the back cover, but it's still got a very nice little 80s twang. A little difficult to read, I have to say. But being a fix is more than just a shady alleyway deal. With Wildside also lets you dive into the high-rise world of the financial factors, the backstage manipulations of agents and managers, and the esoteric coinage of the info bros with their data mine network. So this is the Fixer book. Specialize your Fixer in over a dozen different ways, from high-moving salesmen and money bags to the low-life leeches and go-betweens. Create your own organizations, from setting up and running a business to detailed dissection of the street's environment. Wildside gives you the details up close and in your face. So a lot of this is obviously a lot of this is for the 2020 setting, but from what I'm reading here, you can obviously use that for your Cyberpunk Red game. So obviously you're not going to be limited if you just have Cyberpunk Red and you see this, oh no, it's an older book, I can't do that. I'm going to spin that around like that so you can see the spines a bit more. I think I know what this one is. Yes! Rush Botnos Brainware Blowout, which is the whole net running and I have completely forgotten the little cyberpunk chip things, those sorts of things. This download includes the collected software, I think that was the word I was looking for, and hardware from Cyberpunk 2020, Rach Bart Motter's Guide to the Net, all for Chromebooks and others. Ooh, this is a compilation. A complete compilation of the Cyberdeck modification rules and options. Cyberware, that's what I was thinking of. All new software and hardware from the Netrunner collectible card game featuring all arts from the cards themselves. I didn't even know there was an old card game because I know there's a new one going for the Kickstarter round at the moment. And guidelines for using the Netrunner CCG in your Cyberpunk game and more. So obviously that bit's a little bit dated, which ironically, like the net itself. But yeah, net running for 2020 is infamously odd. And there've been many attempts over the years to streamline the process, and I think what Red does is a lot simpler, but I also think, ironically enough, that it sort of loses some of that like actual jank that makes doing old computer stuff really unique. And of course Red develops from that established history, so you know, you win some, you lose some, but I think that is going to be a great little read. I'm really looking forward to getting my teeth stuck in with that, as if I am all of them. What do we have next? We have Firestorm Shockwave, the Fourth Corporate War, Book 2. Because remember, the events of Cyberpunk 2020, you would have played this in Cyberpunk 27. The first bit where you're playing as Johnny Silverhand and you blow up Arasaka. It's that war. What happens immediately afterwards? And I don't actually think I should be reading this one out of order, but fuck it, we're going to do it anyway. This Cyber War source book, I should probably show you a bit more of the front, shouldn't I? So that's the front. This one's fairly chunky, and it's got all that shit on the back. It's a bit easy to read, but this moves the Cyberpunk 2020 timeline to 2022. You know how to happen? The big boys in the Corebook block, Arasaka and Militech, have pulled off the gloves and the no-holds-barred slugfest to control the arms market and the planet. Now as the brutal battles turn cities around the globe to rubble, edgerunners everywhere and being fed into the meat grinder of full-on corporate war. No covert low-intensity cover-your-tracks type of operations here. No, we're talking howling down the street, guns blazing as enemy fire rips up the pavement, missions using state-of-the-art tools of mass destruction. No one gets to sit on the sidelines in this war. But does your edgerunner have what it takes to survive this gauntlet? It's time to sign up, suit up and find out. But you better choose the right side, because the winner gets to reshape the cyberpunk world. This Cyberware sourcebook has something for everyone, including briefings on the beginning stages of the Hot War, including a complete timeline detailing all the major events, so lore enthusiasts, you'll find everything that you need in here. Profiles and equipment for the corporate warriors on both sides, as well as other forces that help to decide the outcome of the war. 3 new character roles, Aerojock, PA Trooper, and Panzer Boy, plus 5 new skills. All sorts of nil-spec network featuring 4 new ACPA suits, more than 20 pieces of new combat gear, and 17 new weapons. 7 new vehicles, a listing of vehicles and major utility hardware, replacing the out-of-print Maximum Metal sourcebook, interesting, rules for streamlined vehicle combat and resolving small unit battles, and profiles on 5 corporate target sites, each with adventure hooks, oh there's one more, a climactic mission which leads the character to the heart of Arasaka, along some very familiar faces. Yeah, so I just flipped past with some really fucking anime-inspired artwork, because our Talsorian Games are the biggest fucking weebs in the business, and I love them for it. We have got Adam Smasher up there-ish. Looks very different to what he would do in 2077. Technically, he died. They brought him back. Alright, what do we have next? We have Corebook 1 and 2, which is basically a load of fashion-related stuff. There's 4 of them, and our Talsorian Games released 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 as compilation ones. I've seen original prints of that out in the wild, but being the weirdo that I am, I didn't want to have at the time include original print with print on demand stuff, which is funny given some of the OG print stuff I've been posting about with World of Darkness stuff. But times have changed, and I'm not too fussed either way, because I know I could always grab this print on demand or just wait a few years and just get a very generous fucking gift. But I just love the fucking artwork on these. Like, these are so fucking cool. And like, not to be weird about it, that is incredibly sexy. Like, not the sort of person that I would do. That's not the sort of metal things I want going in my orifices, but there's just so much sex appeal with that. It's just fucking great. Hopefully we'll get to 3 and 4 fairly soon. I know what this one is. This is Black Hand Street Weapons 2020, and this is a really slim one because this is basically, as Seth Skorkowski referred to it in one of his videos, the Big Book of Guns. And there's a really nice little DLC that Talsorian put out for Red, where you can convert each and all the guns in this book, and I think some of the other ones as well, to work with Cyberpunk Red, so you can have like a whole spreadsheet of like... So if you've got this book, you can convert everything to the Cyberpunk Red and use those guns there, which I think is really cool. Like, it's not often that you get big companies like this that refer to their older material, that they encourage you to use all this stuff, and the fact that they're still very willing to send all this stuff over and print it still is really cool stuff. You see it with Chaosium as well, but I see it a lot more actively encouraged more with Cyberpunk Red and Cyberpunk 2020. Like, that's how you keep it alive, that's how you keep preservation alive in the TTRPG space, or one of the ways at least. Now, what is this one? Protect and Serve. This is basically the cops book, because you can play as cops in Cyberpunk, which might sound a little bit weird, but RoboCop, one of the biggest Cyberpunk fucking stories out there. Blade Runner. Like, it's not an unusual thing, and I know I'm just wording it that because, you know, cops don't exactly have a great rep at the moment. In 2020, the streets are ablaze and the only law comes from the barrel of a gun. Now Talsorian gives you a cyberpunk cop character the tool he needs to hold the line against the rising tide of crime. Protect and Serve, the complete law enforcement supplement. Cop talk, cops cars, cop training, cop cars, everything to make the super cop of the year 2020 a match with the punks of the dark future. That is such a fucking 80s, 90s fucking cop movie write-up, you know. I love it, like, very tongue-in-cheek, but I read a little bit of this on a PDF a while ago, and it's like got a lot of useful stuff in it. And again, you can bring all four of that shit to Cyberpunk Red. What's in here? This is the solo book, Solo of Fortune 2, solo exclusive, American Angels, a Euro Solo rates America's of 10's best. Basically a portfolio for the most part of the various solos in Cyberpunk. I think this is like the first proper look that we get on Adam Smasher, whose name I've just seen appear at the back. Adam Smasher, full Borg solo, speaks his mind. Yeah, this is a fun little read. Again, you could just take bits and pieces on that and inject that into your solo character. And this is different because this actually uses like real photo stuff rather than just the amazing varied 80s and 90s artwork that we get with our Talsorian's shit. What is next? I think this is Full Metal number 2? No, Maximum Metal, which is basically the big military one with all those fucking cool-ass mega droid suit shit. I don't know the exact terminology because I'm still fairly new into this in terms of like being a cyberpunk lore enthusiast, but blazing tanks, screaming jet fighters, and stomping power armor. I wanted to call that power armor, but I thought that was the wrong phrase, but fuck it, power armor it is. This is the military vehicle and powered armor supplement which tops off the Cyberpunk 2020 combat system. Tanks, artillery, ground support, aircraft and AVs, even advanced combat personal armor. Everything for the near future warfare is here, and it's all tied together by a vehicle combat and design system that allows you to put your cyberpunkers right into the hottest action they've ever seen, with the metal taken to the max. Again, so fucking 80s. Which I laugh about now in retrospect, but this was cool at the time, and it still is pretty cool. Again, you can port this shit over, and I'm pretty certain there's a DLC out there that does something similar to that already. What? Right, so Stormfront, the Fourth Corporate War, Book 1. So let us read through the blurb of this one as we had a look at the second one not too long ago. Looks like that. Back's got like a sort of Matrix Deus Ex Machina vibe to it. This is the sourcebook that has something for everyone, including briefings of the first 2 stages of the conflict, the Ocean War and the Shadow War. These include complete timelines of all the major events. Over 43 NPCs ranging from elite strike teams and major corporate players. 6 new character roles including Sub-Jock and Assassin, plus 13 new skills. All sorts of new tech including 8 diving systems, 9 new cyberware items and 10 new weapons. Fucking hell. Over 13 new vehicles ranging from fighter subs to covert assault vans, profiles on 10 corporate facilities acting as targets or strongholds, 10 mission folios, profiling typical adventures in this ruthless struggle, plus 1 very special mission which is sure to rock you. Rules and guidelines for conducting underwater and covert warfare. Again, stuff you could bring over to Cyberpunk Red if you so wished. And fucking hell, and I was a bit taken aback by there's just so much fucking shit in here. I mean, he's a fairly chunky little boy. We're sort of running out of the pile. Oh, this is the last one. So we've reached the end of the pile. And I've been counting, and there's been 14 books, which I believe is one extra. So the extra would have been the solo rule. So this is Chromebooks 3 and 4. Again, fucking gorgeous models on the front there showing their stuff all plugged in, ready to run through the net and God knows what else. Wow. Again, stuff you could bring forward into Cyberpunk Red if you wanted to, because there isn't that much filling to do, although there is a Cyberpunk Red dedicated to that sort of thing already, which I think we're going to go through in just a moment, just to show off everything else that I have, and things that you might want to consider adding to your Cyberpunk games, which, to be fair, is most of the books that we've got at the moment. So if you're unaware of Cyberpunk Red, and you're sort of like getting into it for the first time, or you've been more used to Cyberpunk 2020 and want to see what happens with Red, we'll go and do that. But before I do that, I just want to say again, I am just aghast and just taken aback about how much our Talsorian have very generously sent over, and they were just so fucking chill about it. You know, me being so coy and ginger, just not wanting to come across as greedy or like in it for the hustle sort of thing, because I know that as I'm presenting this, and I've been very aware of that the whole way through this, that I've done quite a few unboxing things. I've shown off some pretty rare and expensive items, and now I'm just showing off an unboxing thing where companies basically sent over the vast majority of the 2020 line. It might just come across that I'm being cocky or arrogant, or I'm just doing it for the clicks or the views or whatever it is, and I know that does happen a lot. Like, I see that quite a lot with fucking Pokemon trading cards. I see a fair amount of that on TikTok, or things that get like shoved in my face, and just like how ridiculous things are. And it's difficult to enjoy a hobby as a hobby. You have to make a show and tell out of all of this. But from my perspective, this is just me just sharing my enthusiasm, and me also acknowledging the fact that they have sent all this stuff over as well. But I'm just more or less just showing this off to you lot, because I know that you lot are interested, and we can just share this hobby together, because I'm going to be using this to making some content and running games and fucking God knows what else. I know at some point I want to talk about the lore and the setting on Cyberpunk, and all of this is going to help so fucking much, and I'm just exceptionally grateful that I'm just able to do all of that with our Talsorian's help, with all these Cyberpunk stuff. So again, this is just me just sharing my enthusiasm and happiness and joy with people I know who appreciate it, i.e. a bunch of internet strangers. Because, not to get too soppy about this, I don't have a lot of people in my personal life who would remotely give a shit. Maybe my partner, but alas, it's a long distance relationship. They're not here, so this is going to have to do until I next see them. But yeah, again, thank you so fucking much, Talsorian. Rob, especially, for doing what you had to do to organise all of this. Like, absolute mad lad, and fucking based company for sure. Like, name me any other fucking company who'll just casually just drop all their fucking portfolio to you. PDF or physical, like, that's fucking wild. I'm so grateful and happy and excited about what I'm going to do, and I'm going to talk more about the solo rules at the end of the video, but just as a shorthand here, as a little tease, you're going to be seeing a lot of Cyberpunk solo content on the channel, basically in actual play form, but we'll talk more about that in a moment, because I keep hinting that there's some Cyberpunk Red books over here, there's some 2020 stuff over there as well, but I really want to show off to you. Right, so this is the collection that I have. I have just realised I've forgotten to bring down the Games Master screen, but I'm not going to show that in this portion of the video. I'll actually do that as a little, like, panorama thing now. capabilities look fucking awesome. I know they updated it recently. It's no longer the referee screen, it's the Games Master screen, but it works all the same. There's not much changing with that, so regardless, we're going to start with the top and work our way down. I'm going to be removing things as I'm working along. I'm going to do this one first. These are the dice that come with the Edgerunners mission kit. I use these fairly frequently with casual stuff, hence them not being in the box. If I just show off the D10, I do not know how well that is appearing, but you've got like the Edgerunners insignia where the 10 is, and then you've got like some, just spin that around a little bit, you've got some little numbers there. They're not the easiest thing to read, unfortunately. I'm aware that the regular Cyberpunk red dice, which are black and red rather than yellow and green, have this problem as well because they have a similar format. And then you have the D6, which has that replacing the 6, and then similar numbers on the side there, which again, not the easiest thing to read, but it looks fucking cool. Which is nice, but it would be nice if, in that instance, they could have chosen the nice middle ground with aesthetic and accessibility, like they've done with most of the Shadow Scar stuff, which you should go and check out as soon as you finish watching this. I'm going to keep mentioning this. These are the Netrunning card deck things, which I purchased because I love the Netrunner role class for Cyberpunk Red, and I'm not going to remember all the different steps, and me doing solo stuff, I think there'd be a very useful little tool there to do all that stuff with. They do have one recently released for the trauma team, so like the med tech stuff, but annoyingly, for me at least, you can only get them through DriveThruRPG, and purchasing the cards on that site for some fucking reason gives me like a fucking £20-30 posted package thing, even though the cards are much cheaper than that, and I don't have the skill set to like print out the PDF and like turn them into cards myself, so unfortunately gonna give that one a miss for now. But the Netrunning one I've had for a little bit, and I think they look really cool. So let's read us a little bit what it says. The Netrunning deck comes with all the cards a Cyberpunk Red campaign needs to build a net architecture and run through it, straight to the bottom, including 5 program cards, 5 black ice cards, 3 demon cards, and 7 floor cards. Want to know more about how to use the Netrunning deck? Scan the code. A lot of their stuff's got QR codes that just take you to really useful things on YouTube and or their website. Next is the most recent of my Cyberpunk Red purchases. This is the Corebook that I mentioned, Black Chrome, I should say, which was very fucking difficult to find because due to the popularity of Cyberpunk 2077 and Edgerunners, Talsorian keep selling out of their stuff, and I had to go and find this in a small supplier in Wales, not physically but online, that sent this over. Really great nick, but it doesn't just have like weapons and gear and the like. It gives you a whole little system for going to markets and purchasing stuff and fixes, because it's kind of like a Mad Max Fallout sort of vibe, because it's like semi-post-apocalyptic over there because of certain events caused by Johnny Silverhand. You probably know what I'm referring to. So that just changes up the whole like buying and dealing market for a time, which I think is a really nice little change, albeit a little difficult one to incorporate properly. If you think Cyberpunk Red is just an extension to 2077 or Cyberpunk 2020. Now I purchased this a year or so ago, and I have done some solo stuff with it, and I tried out the Netrunning stuff and it's like, no, don't like it. But I think it's really cool that you can still get this print on demand. And as a physical one, it's really easy to access, and I just fucking love this game. There's some brutality things that make it stand out from Cyberpunk Red, I feel. But yeah, go check this out on DriveThruRPG, and I'll go and tell you a bit more about that later on in this video towards the end. But yeah, that's where it all began for a lot of people, I feel. Next, we have the Edgerunners Mission Kit. Now, I got this before I did unboxing stuff, so it's already opened, I guess. But what you have in here, you've got some pre-gen, some quick start rules, an adventure, some setting stuff, some rules for Britacact creation and life path stuff, weapons, cyber gear, and all the rest of that stuff, and what changes from Red from 2077. If you want me to have like a good proper look at this, which I think is like properly worthwhile rather than just talking about how to run it, do let me know in the comments below, and I'll happily take this apart and put it back together again. But you've got the 2 main characters on the front, you've got Rebecca up top. I think that's her name anyway. I'm honestly fucking awful with character names. Like, I remember that's David and I think her name's Lily, but If I've got her name wrong, my partner will fucking slaughter me. But the box looks like that, and that's one of the pre-gens, all the bits and pieces that you have in there. Some more of the pre-gens on the side. You turn it around a bit more pre-gens, lovely stuff. So moving on to our next book. Now, I bought a lot of these when I wanted to like focus a lot more on the lore stuff, and as you know, I've taken a bit of a step back from that, and I will visit it again at some point. So a lot of what we're going to be seeing now is being obtained for those lore purposes in mind. And of course, the Cyberpunk setting isn't just focused on Night City in a very small part of America. Shit happens all across the world. It's actually one of the fantastic world building things of Cyberpunk. It really does fucking look at what the rest of the world is doing, and it's scarily accurate to what happened at some points. But this is Euro sourced plus. It's really difficult to get hold of the OG one, but there were certain events that happened in the real world that changed how this one panned out. So this obviously talks about different bits of Europe, because I am European, and I thought that would be really worthwhile to do. I also have some of our friends in mind who are all based in Germany, so I thought that would have been really cool to set something there. Now, there is a Britain-based one, which I've purchased as well, which I'm going to show off in a moment, but really interesting, read that one. And then there's another book that goes with that, which I believe adds a few adventures, but I'm a bit hazy with that memory. Then we have Pacific Rim, which talks about the various Asian countries, mainly focusing on Japan because it's Arasaka focused, and you've got some key players in that, I believe. It's also got New Zealand and Australia, I seem to recall. This is the edge of Cyberpunk gaming world. Hawaii to China, Japan to New Zealand, the Rim as a little commerce, smuggling, piracy, and revolutions. The region as a place of surprising contradictions and diversity. So yeah, again, very weeby, but I love them. I love their the proudness that they have with that. And then we have the rough guide to the UK, and it's really fucking weird going through a book like this and seeing places that I recognise. Really fucking funny that Cliff Richard's mentioned in here, and they make a little joke that how he's always in the fucking charts. Yeah, that didn't last forever now, did it? You can go and do a bit of history about what happened to him, or what certain things were placed upon him that basically killed his love for all things fucking public. Anyway, really interesting book, and if I was to do Cyberpunk long term, I would just run games in the UK because it's a lot easier for me to imagine than America, even though I have played the video game and I've read like bits and pieces of other Cyberpunk, it's fucking home, innit? Then we have Home of the Brave, which is a very detailed book about the various parts of America. It has various different classes in there, and it has such a finite look at the different military roles as well, like what you alter from the regular life path system to affect that, which I think is really fucking cool. They really put in a lot of fucking work with all of this. And of course, it also helps you to know where the future would take you if you're going to be running Cyberpunk Red, like where the different states end up. And oddly enough, the official wiki is very good for that as well. This is amongst the larger of the books that I have, the Corporation Report 2020, that has the 6 companies. Again, this is a book of, I think this was 4 books, and each one had 2 in it, or 3 books rather, but basically all of them were combined into one. Corporation 2020 combines the classic Merrill, Asaga, and Finch Corporation reports 1 through 3 and spills the dirt on the 6 biggest mega corporations in the 2020 era: Arasaka, International Electric, Lazarus, Militech, Petrochem, and Sov Oil. So all that you need to know about the lore and the history of all those big companies, and yes, there are stats for the Arasaka loss in there. Some of them you'll probably have to modify because remember, this is 2020, and then Red makes them a bit older, and 2077 makes them older still. One of them is technically dead, but, you know, really interesting book. A bit dry in places, which is something to be said with Home of the Brave, but that's something to be expected with a big old lore history book. And also from our Talsorian Games, because they do have their like particularly dry bits in there, which is fine, it's to be expected, and there's not a dig per se, just more of an expectation of what to meet. Now this one, Night City 2020, yeah, this is an essential purchase for Cyberpunk, regardless of the edition that you play. It shows off pretty much any and everything that you can find. So many little plot points, maps, story adventures. Get this book. I will do a review of this at some point, but I was just sort of taken aback about how useful that this is, because I thought, oh, it's going to show off like some specific bits and some specific gangs and crimes. Like, it talks all the different points that I just mentioned. There's a whole like fluctuating crime system thing with gangs, random event encounters, and a lot more that I can't remember because there is just so much fucking information in here. Get this book yesterday. And finally we have 2 Cyberpunk Red tomes, because most of it's been 2020. Because I've been focused more on the lore stuff, I haven't been so keen on getting the adventures. I don't typically run adventures, I like coming up with my own. But in this one we have a Danger Gal dossier, and there's a faction here that eventually a bunch of secret cat girls. I say secret, but the girl that's there is one of the Arasaka lot. You can go and read up about who and what that is. So basically every faction and gang in Night City from 2020, some newer ones in here as well, and there was a big old actual play that had some TTRPG personalities in there as well. Their faction is in here as well, which I think is pretty cool. Again, a little nod to the community little thing, although I do have a little bias thing because if a Vampire the Masquerade did that with the LA by Night lot, I'd probably fucking hate it. So, you know, some people will like it, some people will don't like that inclusion. In this particular instance, I do like it. That being said, with the Vampire one, I think it'll be pretty cool for those who would like that sort of thing. And finally, for me, where it all began, Cyberpunk Red, which I have to say has one of the best fucking front covers of any TTRPG I've ever purchased, and it looks like that on the back. That dent in the corners was like that when I purchased it because I picked it up at my local game store, which was funny enough the first time I went in that store. And when I was taking it to the till, I noticed there were those dents in there, and I demanded a little bit of money off because of that, and I got about 10% off, which was nice. And it's also really special to me because it was the first time that I met my partners within that week where they came over. We did stuff together, you know, some of it I can't mention on the channel, but there's a lot of really wholesome moments, and I just associate Cyberpunk not just with my experiences from 2077, which I just completely binged in the process of a week. It was a very expensive birthday present to myself, especially when I ran it on a vanilla PS4. But yeah, Cyberpunk has become a lot more personal and special to me than I ever think it would do. And there's a fairly recent realization with this, honestly. So I'm really happy about all the different books that I've collected, and they've all done a really fucking fantastic job over these years. Basically doing this one thing and doing it really well. Yeah, I know that Talsorian have done other things as well, but they will forever be the Cyberpunk gals, guys, and non-binary pals, you know, for better and for worse, and I just think that's fucking awesome shit. They've done The Witcher, they've done Shadowscar, go and check out the review and the Kickstarter. There's a version of Cyberpunk that they've done where you play as a bunch of teenagers, which is such a 90s and 80s premise. It alters the meta plot a little bit, but yeah, it's just fucking cool shit, and I just wish that I could do more Cyberpunk games for people because it's a really cool little system. And I wish I could just play it more. But of course I don't have to worry about so much finding a group to play with because I now have single player mode, the solo rules, the most recent of Cyberpunk materials as of the recording and the publication of this video. And I mentioned earlier on that there was going to be some solo play actual stuff on the channel. So what's that going to look like? Well, if you've seen any of my solo actual play stuff before, you'll kind of know what to expect, kind of low-key casual stuff. No too many effects and the like going on, but one of the reasons why I want to do this is beyond me just wanting to fucking play Cyberpunk, is that I'm going to review this on the channel, because remember that this is actually sent over as a review copy, and the best way to do that is by doing some solo play stuff. And going back to what I was saying about all the different books and shit, I just want to show off my enthusiasm a bit more, and I think one of the great ways of showing off just how passionate I am about Cyberpunk is by recording myself play it. So I'm, again, not doing it for the hustle, not doing it for the clicks or anything, although this is quite a topical thing. Let's be honest, most of you aren't going to fucking watch it anyway. I just want to show people Cyberpunk. I want to play it and just want to have fun with Cyberpunk, just record myself having a fun time with it. And of course, once I've played it and tried out using these solo rules, I'm going to be doing a review for the channel, just how well they do and don't work with things. I've read the PDF already and have my thoughts and opinions on things, but it's one thing to think about something that you've read and then read something that you've actually tried in game. So that's what we're going to be doing here. So expect a solo Cyberpunk actual play coming up on the channel soon. For the actual play, I'm going to do my best just to stick to this book here and see how long it's going to take me before I grab something else. Knowing me, not that long, because my brain is just like firing at 1 billion miles an hour when it comes to like improvising shit on the fly. but I want to see just how well you can use this by yourself without obtaining other books and things, or do I have to rely on something else as a bit of a crutch? I don't think so, but I just want to like keep it as vanilla as possible, sort of, you know. But anyway, I'm sort of waffling now because I'm just really fucking happy and excited, and because Mad Lad Company, based as they are, have sent over 14 TTRPG books, and in between edits I had a look, and yeah, they sent over everything that I asked for, which was basically everything in that wish list, which again is just fucking bonkers, man. Like, again, from the bottom of my cold British goth heart, I am so fucking grateful that whatever strings you pulled, Rob, to send all this shit over. Thank you, Jay Gray, who I know is like the main Lore by Night fan over there, and for anybody else who watches and engages my stuff. And clearly, whatever conversation happened, I feel like someone who's like trustworthy and a good voice within the community, or whatever the decision was to send over the stuff. It makes me feel really proud about what I've done, you know, because channel content has been all over the place this year. Yeah, there's been some World of Darkness stuff, but I'm really trying to like branch out a lot more of doing this, that and the other, and it sort of made me feel seen and recognized that something somewhere somehow is working, and it has garnered a lot more respect than I could ever envisioned, and I'm just exceptionally grateful. Again, thank you ever so much for all of that. If you've gotten to this point of the video, I'm really sorry for how much I'm waffling and rambling. I'm just very excited and emotional right now, wanting to do some solo play Cyberpunk stuff. I'm going to be doing an actual play using these rules, and I've got no fucking clue where to put all these books. That's just occurred to me. I'm very grateful I've cleared some bookshelf space recently, but wow. Just wow. Again, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, Talsorian, and hopefully we can keep up this great friendship where you send me shit and I just gush about it for an hour. All joke aside, I'm just really grateful. If you reach this point in the video, let me know your favourite Cyberpunk book in the description below. If anybody at Talsorian grabs this, I'd be interested to hear the same question to you, but I imagine it's like choosing your favourite kid. But just want to see what the conversation happens. And also for my regular viewers, like, what Cyberpunk stuff do you want me to cover? Like lore, character creation stuff, guides? Like, do you want some of the more conversational pieces that I do with like the World of Darkness and general things? Like, let me know the sort of Cyberpunk content that you want, because that will really help, because I've got so many ideas, and it'd be great to have like something to narrow it down. I should have done this bit at the beginning of the video, but whatever, you know, the true goated ones are going to be watching this, and the true goats are going to like help me decide what the channel goes, you know, even if I just ignore all of you. Like, some help would be appreciated. I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. As I've mentioned already, go and check out Shadow Scar. It's an awesome game, and Talsorian do need a lot of love, and despite the fact that they are the Cyberpunk lot and they do that stuff really well, I think it's worthwhile remembering that they do other stuff as well, and we don't just pigeonhole them in there, even though I've described them as the Cyberpunk guys more one occasion in this video and beyond, but you get what I mean, you know. And I did mention that I'd mention more about, and I did mention how you could get hold of these books for yourself. They're available on Drive-Thru-RPG. I'm going to include every single one of these and all the ones I've shown you earlier on in the description below for you to go and purchase. Now, if you purchase those books with those specific links, I get some of the money back because I'm going to fit it on Drive-Thru-RPG, and that sort of coinage helps to provide awesome content like this. So usually I go out of my way and purchase books rather than like get gifted them, but as I've mentioned, this was not a cheap thing for them to do, and it's not a cheap thing for me to do either, so any financial support you can throw my way really helps. But if you've got those books already, or you want to get something else, you can copy the affiliate code down there as well, and paste that into the URL of any Drive-Thru-RPG purchase, be it cards, GM screen, books, whatever, and that helps out as well. But I am not going to lose any sleep over it if you can't do that, because I know times are hard. As I said, shit's really expensive. How the fuck they managed to send this over here, I've got no idea. I know there's like factory for this shit in the UK that might make things a bit cheaper. I don't really know, but again, times are hard for everyone, so if you can do that, that'd be absolutely great. But if you can't, that's absolutely fine as well. So I'd appreciate it if you can, basically. And I also appreciate that you've reached this far into the video. I think this is the longest unboxing thing I have done to date. So yeah, what you should definitely do, if, regardless if you can help me out financially or not, is give the video a little thumbs up, subscribe to the Lore by Night channel, and share this video with any and everyone who loves what I do, especially if you want to teach people more about Cyberpunk and like try out some solo play rules. Yeah, and I'll see you on the next upload, wherever that may well be for you. I promise you it will be something more on topic for what the channel is all about. Well, yeah, until next time, farewell, Chumba.